Hi, I'm Julie Bliven.
And I'm Kristen Audet-Fucarile.
And we met at Simmons.
So Julie, how did we meet and what were your first impressions of me?
You were a recruit, a prospective student, and so you were staying overnight with me. I think you went to a game and or a practice, and I know that we really wanted you to join the team the following year. And my memory of us meeting is that you were the chattiest person I'd ever met. You hit the target on every single question a prospective student could ask. And it was just a comical memory we have of that first overnight when you were still in high school.
I probably still have some more questions for you. So.
How would you describe my running face?
Oh my goodness. You and I would always get partnered up with Coach Price's workouts, and you're just like, hi, Kristen, how are you? Can you hold that weight for me? And I'm like, yeah, sure. And I go underneath you and you're like, like it is the most intense face. Like you don't put 50% into anything you do. So just seeing you even work out, it was like 110%. Like, here I go. Is there anything you wish you've done before graduating that you didn't get the chance to do?
I wish that I had explored the city and the greater Boston area even more than I did when I was here, because, after graduation, I stayed here and got to explore more, but, I was a professional, and I think we would have had an even richer experience if I had taken advantage of the city that much more than we already were doing. Kristen, can you talk a little bit about what's been an impactful moment or experience for you at Simmons?
Well, it wasn't so much an impactful moment, but more of a transition for me. I had this excitement of coming to Simmons for so many reasons, but I didn't realize the impact of the all-women's school. I got a chance to build confidence in myself. I found my voice. I found some wonderful, deep friendships like us. And people ask me, why are you going to an all-women's school? And I was just like, it's in the middle of Boston. Why wouldn't you go to an all-women's school in the middle of Boston? But now looking back, if I were to do it again, being in all-women's school was a huge part of my experience here.
Like it wasn't intentional or deliberate, and then it ended up being such a bonus, and that makes sense. Yeah.
How has our friendship evolved? What is your favorite thing about our connection now?
We don't really have each other at our fingertips the way we did in school, and we're so busy with our careers and our families, and I think we have evolved to just make the most out of our time together and to prioritize seeing each other, which can be really tricky no matter what age you are. And I think we've evolved to really share with each other our careers in a way that is pretty unique. And you having studied education at Simmons, and I with English and Children's Lit, there's an overlap there that's natural. So you've had me in your classroom, and you've come to some of my authors' events when they're doing book signings or things like that. And so I think we just make a deliberate effort to try to replicate what we had at Simmons when we were at each other's fingertips.
Yeah, and I think even when we're not together, we find ways of bringing each other into each other's lives. Just one of the things is the book said you'd always recommend different books for me, and one of them was Miss Biddlebox, and I remember anytime my class is having a bad day, I'm like, all right, let's whip out Miss Biddlebox, and it has a signature from you, and have a little bit of you in my class as well. So
I love that.
One of my favorite memories of you is our sense of humor is one of our hugest connections. And I remember you and Brett coming to the house, and you had just spent time in my classroom. So you were like, listen, I need you to sign these hours. Can you just sign here? But you wouldn't let me quite see the whole sheet. And I'm like, all right, whatever. And I signed it because I trust you. And then right after, Brett and you pulled it up and you're like, booyah, you're marrying us. You had me sign the officiant sheet. And I just remember just being like, that was the funniest thing, because I had no idea that you would ever ask me, and it was the biggest honor that you asked me to do that. And
no, that's one of my favorite memories too. Of course, it was my husband's idea to prank you, to have you sign a document saying you'll be our justice of the peace. And I just think it's really cool that you know, we met, you know, right off the bat in college or before, and then you ended up introducing me to my husband and marrying us. I mean, it's a pretty rare, beautiful story.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Agree.